Good afternoon, biology classes. This is a recording that will help you go through the 11.4 worksheet on Hardy-Weinberg Equilibrium and factors that affect or can lead to evolution in a population. This is the textbook website, and this is free. You can open this and use this. However, you have to be on like Microsoft Edge browser is the one I have had the most success in it working with because it requires Flash Player. Most browsers anymore do not allow Flash Player. So if you can open up Microsoft Edge or Explorer, you can possibly make this work. You go to classzone.com and then choices will come up and you select high school, science, Kansas, go. And then on the next screen, you select the textbook. That's the biology textbook, 2008 version. And then you click on a button that says interactive review. And when you click on that button, that's how I got to where I am right now. Once you are in interactive review, this arrow right here is how you select the chapter that you need to go to. And across the top are all kinds of interactive activities that you can do. You can read about key concepts. You can play different vocabulary games, flashcards, crossword puzzles, word fetch, word scramble, hang 10. Hang 10 is like hangman. There are concept maps that you can complete. There are animations that you can do, and we are going to do one of those animations today. And there are 5-question quizzes for each section of the chapter that you can take. So this is a place that you can go and use textbook resources for free. It's just you cannot use any device that requires Flash. You have to enable Flash in order for this to work. So today we are in chapter 11. So I'm going to click this arrow and select chapter 11. And we are going to do the animations for chapter 11. We're going to do animation 2. Notice there's an animation 1. If you want to get in here and play with these animations and see what they're like, you're welcome to. But in animation, we're going to look at mechanisms for evolution. We have talked about natural selection, and you did some reading on natural selection and what natural selection is. But as you can see from this interactive review that you are going to be doing, there are other processes that can lead to evolution. Natural selection is one of those. There are others listed here. In this scenario, we are going to go through each of those and see how they can play a part and cause a population to evolve. On your worksheet 11.4, there is a section with marbles on it, and it says 5 factors that can lead to evolution. Those pictures of the marbles each correspond to one of these scenarios. As I go through this will help you to answer the questions that are under the pictures of those marbles. So the scenario reads, there are 5 processes that can lead to evolution within a population. Select each factor below to explore how a population evolves. Before we can get started, we have to know where the population is to begin with. So over here, we have a pie graph showing that 1/4 of the population is blue, 1/4 is green, 1/4 is orange, 1/4 is white. And we have a total of 28 marbles in our population. Every time we click on one of these buttons over here, it will reset to this beginning 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, 1/4 division among the population. And then when you click on the button, it will show how it can cause changes within that population. So to start with, we have the factor of genetic drift. After a bottleneck event, only orange and blue alleles remain in this small population. Orange alleles may increase in frequency through genetic drift. So in this situation, the population shrank because of some kind of catastrophic event. There might be a tornado that sweeps through an area. There might be a tsunami along a coastline community. There might be a wildfire that sweeps through an area, or there might be a disease that wipes out a large chunk of the population. All of those would be genetic drift occurring within a population. Now our population is very small and our population has less variety. Only two alleles, two forms of that trait exist within this population. The next event, gene flow, remember, it's going to reset this population back to 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, and 1/4, and it's going to go back to our total of 28 marbles and then show what gene flow does. So gene flow, green alleles increase in frequency due to immigration. Orange alleles decrease in frequency due to emigration. So there were orange alleles that left the population, and there were green alleles that joined the population. So now I have a much larger amount of alleles in my population that are green and fewer orange alleles. There are populations of wild elephants that roam in Africa. And these wild elephants, when the males grow up in their herd, the males are kicked out of the herd and they are required to leave that group. And then as males wander around through the savannas in Africa, then they may come upon and challenge the males in another herd of elephants. And if those males that were wandering now become dominant and overpower the males that were in the herd originally, new alleles will enter this population because those new males will enter the population and their genes will now be influencing the future generations of elephants in that population. That's an example of gene flow. The next one, mutation. In mutations, notice a new color appeared in this group of marbles. We now have red. If red is a beneficial trait for the organisms in this population, then red may increase in frequency in the population. And that's what she said up here. The next one, natural selection. In this scenario, white alleles are associated with white body color, which allows individuals to blend in with their environment. White alleles, therefore, increase in frequency in this population. So because of the environment where these organisms live, white is a beneficial color for them and they blend in with their surroundings. So white becomes the predominant color of the organisms in this population. There are still other colors that exist in the population, but white is the predominant color that exists in this population. Can you think of an example in nature where organisms are white to blend in with their background? Or where other types of camouflage occurs on organisms so they can blend in with their surroundings and hide from predators? And the last scenario, sexual selection. In sexual selection, blue alleles in this population are associated with blue body color, which improves mating success. Blue alleles, therefore, increase in frequency. So notice, many of the offspring in the future generations of this ended up being blue because blue was selected for. It was a trait that was desired when it came time for mating season in this group of organisms. So if blue animals are prime and blue animals are the best and favored choice, then blue is going to show up in future generations as that blue trait is passed from parent to offspring. Can you think of other examples where organisms select traits based on some kind of asexual preference, whether it's a behavior or a physical trait, that those organisms display and can pass that on to their future generations? Remember that these are the 5 factors that can lead to evolution. Now you're going to be learning about the Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium, and in Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium, the 5 conditions for a population being in equilibrium are basically the opposite of these 5 scenarios. For Hardy-Weinberg, a population must be very large. There's no emigration or immigration. There is no mutation occurring in the population. There is no sexual selection occurring in the population, and no natural selection occurring in the population. So for a population to be in equilibrium, all 5 of those factors of the Hardy-Weinberg equation have to be met. The last thing you're going to be doing this week regarding Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium is you're going to revisit the Anole lizard lab that we did before spring break. So here's a picture reminding you of what those Anole lizards looked like, and we used paper clips to simulate those lizards. And in our population of lizards, we had some small lizards and we had some large lizards. You're going to go back and look at your data and the information you wrote down about those lizards, and you're going to answer some questions regarding whether or not that population of lizards met the factors for that population to be in equilibrium. I hope this time together was helpful. I'll see you guys later.